Chosen one, you have not been failing in this season. You have been faithful. Faithful in the waiting, faithful in the stillness, faithful in a place that never quite felt like home, because it was never meant to be. You knew that. Something in you has always known that. And here is what God wants to say to you today. Not as a command issued from a distance, but as a truth spoken, the way someone speaks when they have been standing on the other side of a door you have been staring at for a very long time. You have been waiting for clarity to arrive before you move. But clarity does not come before movement. Clarity comes because of it. That is not a motivational phrase. That is how the spiritual life actually works. The ones who moved first received clarity second. Every single time throughout history, the permission you have been waiting for was issued the day God placed the calling inside you. You have been holding the approval slip without reading it. The life that was built specifically for you does not respond to waiting. It responds to motion. It was designed to activate the moment you take one real step away from where you are and stay completely unreachable for as long as you stay still. Only you can make that step. The decision is the handle, and the door has been unlocked for longer than you realize. Near the end of this message, I have something I want to give you completely free, a practical tool that thousands of chosen ones have used to accelerate the very breakthrough we are going to talk about today. No cost, no strings, no pressure. I will tell you exactly where to access it before this message is over. And if you stay with me through everything I am about to share, here is what you are going to walk away with. You are going to understand 5 specific signs that tell you your waiting season has already closed. You are going to see clearly what God was actually building inside you during the silence. You will receive a real, practical way to take the first step without needing to feel certain first. And you will receive something free that directly supports what we are going to discuss. Every part of this message builds on what comes before it, and the most important part is not at the beginning. Stay with me. But before we go there, I need to ask something of you. Set aside whatever else has your attention right now. If there is noise around you, let it become background. This message was not placed in front of you by accident. It found you at a specific moment, in a specific season, and it deserves your full presence. Let me describe something to you. There is a morning you know very well. The light comes in the same way it always does. The room around you is the same room it was 3 months ago, 6 months ago, maybe longer. You reach for your coffee or your phone or whatever it is that starts your day, and somewhere in those first few quiet minutes before the noise of everything else begins, you feel it. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet, persistent awareness that something is not quite right about where you are. Not wrong in a way that breaks everything, just wrong in the way that a key feels, wrong in a lock it was not made for. You can turn it. You have been turning it, but it has never quite opened the door. That feeling is not anxiety. That feeling is not ingratitude. That feeling is a signal. And today, I want to explain to you what it is actually trying to say. Because here is what I know about you. You are not in this place because you have done something wrong. You are in this place because you have been waiting for a permission that was already given to you a long time ago. You have been waiting for the fear to get smaller before you move. You have been waiting for the call to get louder before you answer. You have been waiting for the moment to announce itself so clearly that doubt would become impossible. And the waiting itself has started to feel like obedience. But there is a difference between resting in God and residing in a place God has already left. And that difference is what this message is about. Before we go any deeper, I want to show you something. 5 things that are already happening in your life right now that most people have never had explained to them. Because these 5 things are not random. They are not symptoms of something going wrong. They are signals of something that is already moving. The first sign is a restlessness you cannot quite name. Not the kind that comes from scrolling too much or sleeping too little. This is deeper than that. It is the feeling of wanting to create something, build something, start something, without being able to name exactly what. You reach for your usual outlets, and they feel hollow in a way they never used to. You start things and step back from them. You feel a pull towards something that does not have a clear shape yet. And you have probably told yourself something is wrong with you for feeling this way. Nothing is wrong with you. Your calling is stirring. This is what it feels like from the inside when something is waking up that has been dormant for too long. The second sign is a quiet disconnection from things that used to bring you life. The routines that felt safe now feel like they belong to someone else. The environments that used to energize you feel draining in ways you cannot fully explain. You still show up. You still go through the motions. But there is a part of you that is not quite present anymore. And it is not because you have become ungrateful or difficult. It is because your spirit has already moved past the season those things belong to. When the fruit of a season is finished, it falls. Not because something is wrong with the fruit, because the season is over. The third sign is a changed tolerance for things you used to accept without thinking. Conversations that felt normal now feel like they cost you something. Situations you used to navigate easily now leave you drained. You are less willing to explain yourself, less willing to stay in rooms that pull your energy downward, less willing to pretend that everything is fine when something inside you is clearly shifting. You might have wondered if you are becoming more closed off. You are not. Your spirit is protecting something it knows is growing. The fourth sign is this. Certain words or phrases keep finding you from unconnected places. A friend says something, then a stranger says the same thing, a different way, 2 days later. A sentence in a book catches you off guard. A song lyric lands like a message written specifically for you. This is not coincidence. God uses repetition when a word has not yet fully settled. If the same theme keeps arriving from different directions, it is because something needs to become real to you before the next chapter can begin. The fifth sign is timing you cannot explain. A conversation that happened at exactly the right moment. A door that opened right before you were about to stop knocking. A resource that arrived when you had stopped looking for it. The right person appearing without being called for. God does not operate in coincidence. He operates in choreography. And when you begin noticing that the choreography around your life has become unusually precise, you are looking at the fingerprints of something that is already in motion. If even 3 of those 5 signs are present in your life right now, type the words "I see it" in the comments. Let that be a declaration. Not to anyone watching, to yourself, and to the God who orchestrated this moment. Because what you are seeing is real. And what it means is something this message is going to show you. Because here is what all 5 of those signs have in common. They are not just signs of change. They are signs that something cannot reach you, where you currently are. Something is trying to get to you. Something is moving toward you. And the reason it has not fully arrived yet has nothing to do with whether you deserve it. It has to do with your position. Something extraordinary can only make contact with someone who is moving toward it. But before I tell you what that something is, I need to honor the season you have been in. Because I do not want you to walk away from this message feeling like the waiting was wasted. It was not. And that is not something I am saying to make you feel better. That is a truth you need to receive before you can actually move forward. The stillness built 3 things inside you that you could not have received any other way. The first thing it built was discernment, the ability to read situations and people and environments with a precision you did not have before. You have walked through seasons that broke your assumptions. You have sat in rooms where things were not what they appeared to be, and you learned to tell the difference. That is not a small thing. That is a gift that will protect everything God is about to release into your life. The second thing it built was depth. The kind of depth that does not show on the surface but holds everything up from underneath. Roots that go down before the tree can go up. You did not spend this season growing upward toward crowds or applause. You grew downward, into the ground, into the foundation, into the place where things do not break when storms come. Most people would have stopped growing in the conditions you grew through. You did not stop. The third thing it built was the real version of you. Not the version that needed someone else to confirm the calling before trusting it. Not the version that required external validation to feel certain. The version that knows what it believes when no one is watching. Because the season you have been in stripped something away that needed to go. A false identity. A version of yourself that was constructed for approval and not for purpose. And that version could not carry what is coming. So it had to be released before the real one could rise. Let me pause here for a moment. I want to say something to you that is not teaching. I want you to know that I see what this season has cost you. The moments you stayed faithful, when staying faithful made no visible sense. The prayers you prayed in the dark with no evidence they were reaching anywhere. The days you kept going when every honest part of you wanted to stop. That faithfulness was seen. Every single moment of it was received. Take a breath right now, not because you need to do anything, not because something is required of you in this moment. Just because you have been carrying this for a while, and for one breath, nothing has to happen. You do not need to decide anything right now. Just breathe, and let the truth that you have not been failing settle somewhere real inside you. Now, here is the harder truth. The building is done. The season of preparation has completed its purpose. And here is what most messages in this space will not tell you. Staying in a preparation season after the preparation is finished is not faithfulness. It is residence in a place God has already vacated. The cloud has moved. The building phase has ended. And the longer you remain in a place whose purpose for you is complete, the more it costs you, and the more it delays everything that is waiting on the other side of one decision. Most people would end a message here, with the comfort that the waiting was not wasted. But that is only half the truth. This message is about the other half, and what comes next is the part that will show you exactly how the activation works. There was a man in Scripture who stood at the edge of something impossible. He had led an entire people out of the only life they had ever known, through a wilderness that made no promises, toward a destination none of them could yet see. And then they arrived at the edge of a sea, water ahead that they could not cross, an army closing in from behind that they could not survive. Every direction was blocked, and the people around him began to panic, to cry out, to accuse him of leading them toward death. And in that moment, God said something to him that I need you to hear today. Not because the situation is the same, but because the word is the same. He did not say pray harder. He did not say wait for the path to clear before you step onto it. What he said was this: why are you crying out to me? Tell the people to move forward. The miracle was not waiting on the other side of the sea. The miracle was waiting on the other side of one step, taken in conditions that made no visible sense. There is a word in the original Hebrew that is used in the moment when God commanded Israel to set out. The word is nasa, and most translations render it as simply departed or set out. But the deeper meaning of nasa in the Hebrew is not merely physical movement. It is a covenantal act. It is movement made in response to the cloud, in trust that where the cloud goes, God goes, and where God goes, provision follows. The people of Israel did not move and then ask God whether they were right. They moved because the cloud had already lifted. They moved because something had already shifted in the unseen realm that had not yet shown up in the visible one. And I want to ask you something right now. Has the cloud already lifted in your life? Have things already shifted in a way you can feel but cannot yet fully explain? Have you been sensing that the season you were in has ended, even if nothing in your visible circumstances has confirmed it yet? Then you already know what your NASA is. I hear the Father saying to someone listening right now, I did not bring you through what you have survived to leave you standing at the edge. The sea ahead of you is not a wall. It is a path I have already walked, so that you will not walk it alone. Your first step will not be your last. Your first step will be the signal that releases everything that has been held in reserve. You are not Moses. You do not need a parting of waters to begin. You need what Moses needed, one decision made in impossible conditions that releases divine response. One step taken before the path is fully visible. One act of trust that says, "The cloud has moved, and so I move with it." Before we continue, gently press the like, not for this space, but so that this word can reach someone else who is standing at their own impossible edge tonight. Someone who needs to know that the miracle does not come before the step. Someone who needs to hear that the step itself is the miracle. Now, I want to take you somewhere, into the question that everything we have discussed has been building toward. Not just what happens when you move in general, what happens for you specifically, what activates, what opens, what begins to work in ways that were impossible while you were still. And there is something else I want to give you before this message is over. Something practical that connects directly to everything we are about to discuss. I will show you exactly what it is and how to access it when we get there. Stay with me, because the second half of this message is the part most people are not prepared for. Before we continue, I want to come back to something I mentioned at the beginning of this message. I told you there was something I wanted to give you for free by the time we finished. And I want to say a little more about what that is, because it connects directly to what we are about to discuss, what we are about to talk about. The specific activation that happens the moment you move has a dimension to it that most people have never heard explained, a brain-based dimension. A scientific dimension that runs beneath the spiritual reality we have been describing. And there is a specific audio tool created by a neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake called the Genius Song that was designed to work with exactly that dimension. It takes 7 minutes to listen to. You use headphones, you close your eyes, and you let it work. I will share all of it, the full explanation, the science behind it, and exactly how to access it later in this message. For now, stay with me, because what comes immediately before that is just as important as the tool itself. There is a word in the original Greek that I want you to sit with for a moment. The Apostle Paul wrote in his letter to the Philippians, "It is God who works in you, both to will and to act." And that word works, in the original Greek of that text, is energio. And I want you to hear this carefully, because it matters more than it might seem at first. Energio is where we get our English word energy. But in its original meaning, it does not simply mean to have energy in a general sense. It means to be made operationally active, to become effective for a specific function, to be switched on for a specific purpose. When the title of this message says, "God activates everything the moment you move," that is not a poetic phrase designed to sound inspiring. In the ancient language, the word is energeo. God literally becomes operationally active inside you as you take the step. The activation does not wait until after you succeed. It does not arrive after you have proven yourself to a long enough standard. It begins the moment the decision is made, the moment the step is taken. The energio happens in the moving, not before it and not after it. I hear the Father saying to someone who has been waiting for a very long time, "I have been here the whole time, not observing from a distance, not waiting to see if you would eventually make it. Standing on the other side of the door you have been looking at, present, ready, close. And when you open it, I am not going to ask what took you. I am going to say, I knew you would come. Now let us go." And here is what I want you to understand about what specifically activates for those who enter this threshold season. The first thing that begins to move is connection. The right people cannot find a stationary target. Movement makes you findable. When you step into the direction you were called toward, people who carry the same frequency, the same calling, the same season, begin to appear in your path. Not because you searched for them, but because movement puts you in proximity to what stillness had been keeping just out of reach. Doors do not open for people standing in the wrong hallway. But the moment you begin walking toward the right one, things along that hall begin to respond in ways that were not possible before. The second thing that activates is internal capacity you did not fully know you had. You discover, in the doing, that you are more equipped than the waiting led you to believe. The season of preparation builds qualities that only become visible under the pressure of real movement. You learn that you can carry more weight than you feared. You learn that the uncertainty you were waiting to dissolve was not a warning about your limitations. It was evidence of your awareness. And awareness is not weakness. Awareness is the first form of wisdom. The third thing that activates is provision that could not reach you in stillness. God-ordained doors are positioned along the path, not beside the starting point. Some of the resources, the open doors, the right connections that you have been asking for, they are not waiting at your current location. They are positioned 10 steps forward, 20 steps forward, 100 steps down the road. And the only way to reach them is to begin. What felt like delay was actually alignment. What felt like paralysis was actually preparation. What felt like silence was God saying, not yet, not yet. And then, in one moment, now. And I want to be honest with you here, because you deserve honesty more than you deserve hype. This is not a promise that everything becomes easy the moment you move. It is not a guarantee that fear disappears on the first day, or that every door swings open on the first try. It is something more truthful than that. It is a promise that everything becomes purposeful, that the steps you take will not be wasted, that nothing you build in motion will be built in vain, and that the God who energios in you is not limited by the imperfection of your first step. But here is what I need to address before we go any further. Because the most common reason chosen ones do not move is not what they usually think it is. It is not logistics. It is not timing. It is not resources or connections, or the absence of a clear enough picture. The real reason, the one that lives underneath all of those explanations, is a belief that most people never say out loud. It goes something like this: if I move toward the calling and it does not work out, it confirms the thing I have been most afraid was true all along, that I was never really chosen, that the call was something I invented for myself, that the faith I built my life around was misplaced. And so rather than testing that belief, it becomes safer to remain still. Because if you never move, the belief never gets tested. And if it never gets tested, you never have to face what the test might reveal. I want to speak directly to that fear, not with urgency, with complete compassion, because it makes complete sense. Of course, you protect yourself from the thing that could cost you the most. That is not weakness. That is intelligence applied to the wrong situation. The comfort zone you have been living in is not laziness. It is old wisdom. It served you in a season when staying safe was the most urgent thing, but that season has passed. And old wisdom applied to a new season does not keep you safe. It keeps you in place. Here is the shadow truth underneath the fear of moving. It is not really a fear of failure. It is a fear of discovering the wrong answer about yourself. And here is what I want you to hear in response to that. You already know the answer. The restlessness tells you. The 5 signs tell you. The fact that this message reached you today tells you you are chosen. Not because you have earned it perfectly, not because your faith has never wavered. You are chosen because God said so. And God does not revise his words. I want to tell you about someone briefly. I am not going to use their name, but this is real. About 11 months ago, they were sitting exactly where you are sitting right now. The same restlessness, the same recognition, the same fear that moving toward the calling and failing would cost them the only thing they had left, which was hope. They decided to move anyway, not because the fear left, because they decided the fear was no longer in charge of the timeline. In the months that followed, not everything was easy, but 3 specific things opened that could not have opened while they were still. And the most important thing they said later was this: the move itself was the proof, not the outcome. The act of moving, In your mind right now, I want you to let one thing become clear. Not a plan, not a full picture, just the first move. The smallest, real step. The one thing you already know, you have been putting off. Let it become present in your mind right now, clear enough to feel the weight of it. And type the words, "I move," in the comments. Not as a promise to anyone else, as a declaration to yourself, that something is shifting, that the waiting has had its season, and now it is time for something else. Now I want to talk to you about something that connects directly to everything we have covered in this message. Dr. Robert Lake has spent 34 years studying the human brain, not the brain as it performs on an average day, but the brain as it performs at its absolute highest capacity. The brain in what researchers have called the genius state. And after 3 decades of work conducted alongside teams at MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and several other leading research institutions, Dr. Lake and his colleagues discovered something that most people were never told. When you were born, your brain operated in a specific frequency called gamma. And gamma is not just a label for a brainwave. Gamma is the neural state associated with the highest levels of intuition, clarity, problem solving, and what some researchers describe as flow, the condition where things connect and move and create with an ease that logic alone could never produce. It is the frequency where the mind operates at the level it was originally designed for. But here is what the research showed. By the time most children reach the age of 7, the gamma frequency has been dramatically suppressed, not by any single dramatic event, by the accumulated weight of modern life. The school system, the constant low-grade pressure of comparison and performance, the way children are conditioned to doubt what they sense and trust only what they can prove with evidence. Scientists call this the decline effect, and they found that most adults spend their entire lives operating at a fraction of the capacity they were born with, without ever knowing it. Here is why that matters for you specifically. The version of you that is being called forward right now, the version that moves, that steps, that builds, that creates, that fulfills what God placed inside you, that version requires a brain operating closer to what it was designed for. And the decline effect is the reason the gap between who you are and who you sense you were made to be can sometimes feel so frustratingly wide. Before I tell you what I want to give you, I want you to understand something about who you are in this context. Because the Genius Song was not created for general audiences. It was designed for people who have been in a preparation season, people who have been built in the stillness, people whose calling has been placed deeply enough inside them that they can feel the distance between where they are and where they were made to go. People who are not simply curious about breakthrough but who are ready for it in a way that only a specific kind of season can produce. If what I have said in this message has landed in a real place inside you today, you are the person this tool was made for. Let me tell you about someone who used it. She had been in a long season of faithfulness without visible movement, talented, called, prepared, and stuck. Not because of a lack of desire, but because of a lack of activation. She described it the way so many chosen ones describe it, like pressing the accelerator of a car with the brake still engaged. Effort, but no movement. She started listening to the Genius Song for 7 minutes each morning. No complicated ritual, no special preparation, just headphones, closed eyes, 7 minutes. What changed in the weeks that followed was not a single dramatic moment. It was consistent. A clarity that had been just out of reach started landing. Decisions that used to exhaust her started becoming obvious. And the step she had been postponing for months, she took it within 3 weeks of beginning. She said later that it did not feel like courage. It felt like something finally releasing. Now let me address something directly, because you may be thinking you have tried tools like this before. You may have listened to frequency tracks or meditation audio and found the results underwhelming. I understand that. What makes this different is the mechanism. Brain entrainment, through gamma-specific frequency calibration is not ambient relaxation audio. It is a precisely engineered stimulus that works the way Dr. Lake describes it. Your brain synchronizes to the frequency it is hearing, the way two instruments in the same room will fall into rhythm with each other. You are not being asked to feel differently. Your brain is being given a signal it was designed from the beginning to respond to. You might also be thinking that 7 minutes seems too simple for something this significant. And I understand that too. We have been conditioned to believe that real transformation requires complexity and duration. But the most powerful forces in creation work through elegant simplicity. The mechanisms that keep you alive operate without your instruction, without effort, without you doing anything at all. Simplicity is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of design that has been perfected. And if the question in your mind is about the cost, here is what Dr. Lake decided when he priced this. The full price of the Genius Song is $49. For those who receive it through this specific message, the price is $39. Not through Amazon, not through any other search result, only through the link in the description and the pinned comment. The reason for the difference in price is straightforward. Dr. Lake did not want cost to be the reason. A chosen one who is ready to move cannot access this. For $39, you receive the Genius Song itself, and 4 additional tools that are valued at $80 when purchased separately. The first is called Genius Child, a 6-minute audio calibrated specifically for children, designed to work before the decline effect takes hold. If you have children in your life, people in the next generation, this is something worth having. The second is a physical book that was the original source material behind the film, called The Secret, a text that goes deeper than the popular version into the actual principles behind financial and mental transformation. The third is a 22-minute guided visualization that walks through 4 specific areas where activation tends to matter most: your finances, your relationships, your health, and your sense of purpose. And the 4th additional resource is included as well, and I will let you discover it when you access the full package. Over 18,366 people have now used the Genius Song, and less than 4% have requested a refund. Think about what that number means. In a space where most products see refund rates of 15% or more, less than 4% means that more than 96 out of every 100 people who receive this choose to keep it, use it, and decide it was worth what they paid. That is not a marketing claim. That is what happens when something actually works. The guarantee is 100%, no conditions. No limit on how many times you can listen before requesting your money back. Dr. Lake built it this way because he believes the experience will speak louder than any promise about it. Now here is something I want to say about the timing of this decision. The chosen one who hears this message today and acts on what they heard is not the same person as the one who waits 3 weeks. Not because the tool changes, but because you change. The version of you listening right now, who just sat through this entire message, who felt the recognition, who saw the signs, who heard the command to move, this version of you is in a state of openness that does not last indefinitely. Every day of deliberation, after a moment of genuine clarity, is a day the clarity begins to cool. Spiritual momentum is real, and I believe you are in exactly the right moment to use it. The link is in the description of this message and in the pinned comment below. That is the only verified location for what I am describing. I want to say this clearly. If you search for the Genius Song anywhere else and find something, it will not be the verified version. There is one link. It is pinned. It is where the real thing is. Protect your breakthrough by going to the right source. The Genius Song is there when you are ready. Before we close, I want to do one thing with you. In your mind right now, I want you to picture yourself taking one step, not the whole journey, not the final destination, just one step forward from the exact place you have been standing. The shift of weight, the air in front of you, different from the air behind you. The moment your whole self commits to a direction it has been resisting. This is not imagination for motivation. This is your spirit practicing what your life is about to do. Stay with that image for one breath. And before this message ends, I am going to speak something over your life that I believe will stay with you long after you leave this space. What I am about to declare is not general. It is for you, chosen one, in this specific moment, in this specific season. You came to this message carrying something, a season that has gone on longer than you planned, a calling that lately has felt more like a weight than a gift, a version of yourself that is ready to emerge, but has been waiting for a signal that it is finally time. This message is that signal. You have been faithful in the waiting. You have been present in the stillness. And the God who placed the call inside you has not forgotten a single detail of what he put there. Not one gift was lost in the waiting. Not one purpose was quietly revised. Everything that was given to you is still given, and it has been waiting for exactly this. I release over you now the weight of the season that has been too long, the grief of the delays, the quiet exhaustion of trusting without visible evidence. In the name of the God who called you, I declare that weight broken. You do not carry it into the next chapter. It stays here, in this place, and you walk forward without it. And I want to declare over you who you are. You are the pioneer, the one who makes the road by walking it, who moves before the map is fully drawn, who trusts the direction when the landscape gives no visible confirmation. You are the cycle breaker, the one whose movement ends what was never supposed to continue, whose first step changes the trajectory, not just for yourself, but for everyone who comes behind you. You are the anointed mover, called not just to arrive, but to walk. And your anointing does not activate in stillness, it activates in motion. You are commissioned, you are equipped, you are sent. I hear the Father saying to you right now, I have been here the whole time, not watching from a distance, not waiting to see if you would survive it. Here, close, present. Every prayer that felt unanswered, I received it. Every step you took in the dark without knowing where it would land, I was already standing where you were going to arrive. And when you take this step, you will not take it alone, not for one moment, not for one breath. I go with you. There is a destiny that has your name on it, a life built with your specific fingerprints in mind, your specific season, your specific calling, what I might call your destiny's embrace. It has not been given to anyone else. It has not been cancelled. It has been preserved. And it responds to one thing above everything else: your movement. Take a breath and begin. If this message did something real inside you today, I want to ask one thing. Type the words, I am ready, in the comments, not for anyone watching. As a declaration to yourself and to the God who sent this word to find you, type, I am ready. And if this word found you at the right moment, gently press the like, not to help this space, but because somewhere right now, someone else is sitting in the same stillness you were sitting in at the beginning of this message. Your like sends this word toward them. That is not a small thing. That is a chosen one doing what chosen ones do, carrying the light into places it has not yet reached. If you want more words like this, words prepared specifically for this season, stay connected to this space. There are more messages being prepared for your next chapter, and you will want to be here when they arrive. And one final thing. Is there someone in your life who has been unusually quiet lately? Someone who has pulled back from the people around them, who seems like they are carrying something they cannot quite explain to anyone, who says they are fine while something behind their eyes tells a different story. Share this message with that person. They may not know how to ask for what they need, but this word might be the confirmation they have been praying for without knowing how to pray it. I want to close with a story. I will not use a name, but it is real. About 9 months ago, A chosen one was facing a decision they had been avoiding for over a year, a direction they knew they were called toward but kept finding reasons to postpone. They knew what the first step was. They had known for a long time. The fear of being wrong, of leaving something certain for something that had not yet proven itself, kept them exactly in place. One day they decided that the waiting had completed its purpose. Not because the fear disappeared, because they decided the fear was no longer authorized to make the decision. Within 4 months, 3 specific things opened that could not have opened where they were standing before. The path itself confirmed the step. Not in advance, in the doing. You are ready. The step is yours. And everything is waiting on the other side of it.